We're talking Florida Atlantic Owls today on Sharpen the Point. Last season, 3-9 was a down year. It saw Tom Herman, once one of the hottest names in college football, get canned. And this year, we're trying to revisit by bringing in Zach Kittley in his first season now with having been the Texas Tech offensive coordinator. He's the youngest FBS head coach. His offenses have been just simply dynamic. They're passing offenses. They're based off of the Leach air raid system, and he's hoping to bring that to the Owls this season. Quarterback-wise, Cam Fancher, he's going to depart to UCF. They're going to hope he does not ever see the field. He just simply is not a quality quarterback. He's not capable of leading an offense, and they're going to upgrade. They're bringing in Caden Veltkamp from Western Kentucky. He was the Conference USA Player of the Year last year. He's got dual threat qualities, 3,100 passing, 25 touchdowns there, almost 300 yards rushing, 7 touchdowns there. He's going to need to show more consistency with his decision-making and accuracy, but this is an offense he's comfortable with, so the transition should be very easy for him. They also added Zach Gibson. Zach Gibson's a well-traveled quarterback. He's played at Georgia Tech, Georgia State, Akron. He's very experienced. He's going to be the backup. He's in his 7th season. He's solely here as an insurance policy in case something happens to Veltkamp, and we hope it doesn't because Veltkamp's going to put up solid numbers, and he's going to be fun to watch in this system. At running back, big loss. C.J. Campbell Jr. leaves for Rutgers. There's a reason why he was able to go up because he was highly productive on a team that had very limited offensive capability. It saw him lead the team in rushing, 844 yards, 11 touchdowns. He also was the second leading receiver. That was an underrated aspect of his game. Almost 500 yards receiving, another 3 touchdowns. He was almost assuredly most of the offense a year ago. He's going to be somebody that could have been used very properly in this system with the way that they use the backs out of the backfield. And it's always kind of needed a hammer. Taj Brooks was used very well by Kittley a year ago. They adapted that offense. And I think Campbell could have played very well in this system. Second leading rusher, Zuberi Mobley. He's going to head to Tulane. I don't think they're going to miss him near as much. The expectation is that Jermari Sands is going to be the starter after receiving a feature role in the spring. And also notably, Xavier Terrell is one to watch as his combination of physicality and pass catching ability are uniquely fit for this system. He could be somebody who comes on strong later in the year, or if something happens to Sands, to take on a very large role. This system's not known for producing high-end running backs, but as we've seen when they have the talent level of a Taj Brooks, Kittley will use it and maximize it, certainly. On the pass catcher side, top target Amari Hayes departs from his slot role. He's going to also head to Tulane. He was a good catch player. He led the team, but it wasn't anything crazy. The only real returning production of consequence is Jamari Smith, but he's going to start. He could build on last season, especially in this pass-heavy offense. Now, who's going to lead the room? It's going to be a Western Kentucky transfer. It's going to be Easton Messer. He's going to play the slot role for Hayes. He's going to be an absolute target monster. I think he easily gets to and clears 100 catches this year, and could easily push for 150 or more targets in this system. He had 800 yards, 4 touchdowns a year ago. He's got a very well-established rapport with Veltkamp, and he showed a continuation of that in the spring game. He had 4 catches, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I think you're going to see that catch number go up and that yards per catch go down a little bit in the actual regular season, but it was nice to see that they still have that connection and that they're still clicking on all cylinders after what they showed a year ago. Now, we know what to expect from him, but I think J.R. Wilson is the wild card in this situation. He comes in from UVA. I think he could be the key to this pass game for the year. Wilson provides a big body presence at 6'4" compared to the smaller, shiftier guys of Messer and Smith. And he never really established himself at UVA, but we saw flashes here and there of his capability. And if he can hit his ceiling, he can provide something that nobody else in the room can. Being able to catch 50-50 balls, high point, and just be a dominant end zone threat overall. Caleb Coombs and Buck Mitchell, they had good springs as well. I expect them to be in the rotation. we've seen the tight end room used from time to time in this spread offense. We saw it at Texas Tech with Jason Morrow a long time ago at this point, where he was a high draft pick for the Jets, never really turned into anything. And also Tyler Higbee at Western Kentucky had a good NFL career now with the Rams, and he was used extensively in the red zone. So this is a full turnover of this room, though, as the top four are all gone. But they added Mike Kirch, who instantly to me becomes a intriguing prospect at this point. He's the most experienced guy in the room from a playing perspective, albeit was at the D2 level, having earned first team all-conference a year ago there. He's got upside to be the starter and size to be useful specifically in the red zone at 6'5". I think he's a little light in the britches at 240, probably for a blocking tight end, but we want him to be a receiver in this system specifically. So the combination and the twin towers, we'll say, of Wilson and Kirch could be very, very useful for a guy like Veltkamp to high point balls in the end zone. Along the offensive line, we have a number of starters gone from a year ago. That could be the reason we saw so many sacks in the spring game. You never know whether it's the defense is playing well or the offense is playing poorly in that situation. But to their benefit, this offense is predicated on being in rhythm and getting the ball out to their playmakers quickly. Additionally, the mobility that Veltkamp possesses is going to aid in their efforts of being able to hold up in pass pro. I love the addition of left guard Madden Sanker from Louisville. He was a very good pickup. He plays a strong interior line presence, and hopefully he can add to that room. Defensively, these air raid systems are not known for quality defenses. They tend to be on the field a lot due to the quick scoring and or quick turnover of the ball, depending on how well the offense is clicking. There's a lot of departures on defense, although there is reason for optimism given the takeaways and pressure they were able to produce in the spring game itself. Granted, like I always say, a positive for the defense is a negative for the offense. But in this situation, I would much prefer to see the defense in the spring perform well, because we know that a Kitley system is going to be very productive in the actual regular season. So seeing the defense put it together in the spring is a very nice thing, because that's not something that we expect going forward. Along the defensive line, they added Tycool Hill and Tycleen Lumen from Rutgers. They're brothers. Each had a sack in the spring game, and they're going to be expected to be a presence along that defensive line. Purdue transfer Antonio Robinson, he performed well in the spring as well. He's going to be a contributor. And one of the main keys to me along that defensive line is going to be Ohio transfer CJ Doggett. He played well last year for Ohio, which traditionally has a very strong defense, and he provides pressure up the middle. He had 3 sacks last season. So combining those transfers with the young guys that hopefully are going to get better, you're going to have a mix that creates optimism with this unit itself. It may take a little bit at the beginning of the season to come along, but there is room for growth here. Linebacker room-wise, Tyler Skolsky's going to be the man. Just the absolute man. He comes in from Minnesota. He started for Minnesota against Ohio State a year ago, and he's going to be the guy to lead this defense. He was vocal in the spring. He's taken on a leadership role, and I love where he is from a leader standpoint and how he plays specifically as just a hard-nosed, nasty middle linebacker. He's going to be joined by Leon Hart Jr., who comes in from Marshall. He's a good, experienced player. On the DB room, we're adding Terez Reed from D2. He's going to bolster the corner room. He's very experienced. He's played in 39 games. He's got a chance to break into the lineup with projected starters Duda Rogers, Cam Goggins, and Lawrence Johnson. Goggins really has stood out in the spring. The coaches keep gushing about him. I love where his game is. He's going to be a playmaker for this defense and a key to their success on the second level. Kyle Boylston, he snagged an interception in the spring game. He had a really nice spring game. 5 tackles, a fumble recovery to go with that pick as well. He's someone I want to keep an eye on. He plays baseball. He's a multi-sport athlete, and he's really coming into his own. If he can translate that athleticism from baseball into football, he could be somebody that's a key contributor in the long run here. Looking at the schedule and outlook for this season, The offense is going to be much improved over a year ago, especially because of the Kitley offense and the guys that he's brought in from Western Kentucky. Veldkamp's going to need to cut down on his mistakes. He had too many interceptions a year ago with 10, especially in Conference USA, which is not a particularly good defensive conference. And he's going to improve his accuracy to take his game to the next level. We saw that in the spring game. His completion percentage wasn't exactly the best. The defense has intriguing pieces, namely Stolsky and Goggins, who we talked about, and how they hold up is going to be paramount to the team's overall success. If Kitley can get a bowl game appearance in his first season, that's going to be a huge success after how this team performed a year ago. An improvement in the win column and closer games would signal positive trajectory. They got blown out a little too much last year. First game starting out at Maryland, that's just probably a bridge too far for this team right away. But Florida A&M, going to be a nice, come-in win for them there. At FIU, I think that's an easy win there as well. They should be able to handle business there. Memphis, it's a tough matchup. Memphis is a young team a team that's turned over a lot as well. I just think that they have a little bit too much talent for this team right out the gate. At Rice, that is a game they should win and take care of business there. UAB is going to be a fun one. That's going to be a high-scoring game. Neither team, UAB definitely not playing defense. They have not played defense under Dilfer, and I don't expect that to change. This team is going to be coming on strong, and we'll see what their growth is, especially in that Memphis game. How they perform against Memphis is going to tell us a lot as to how they will perform against this UAB offense as well. Similarly, at USF, that's a tough matchup. At Navy, that is a clash of styles that is not going to go their way. Tulsa, you're in play for a win there. Those are a close game. That's a coin flip. At Tulane, tough matchup. The coaching advantage definitely goes to John Summerall there. UConn, you're in play for a win. That team's been playing better, but I expect that you can handle business there. And East Carolina's going to be a fun one. East Carolina's got a very talented offense. That's another shootout. So I'm loving – this is going to be a fun team to watch. I'm loving watching these shootouts. I think it's going to be interesting if they can make a bowl game. Like we said, big-time victory for Kitley in year one.